Oh, definitely.
Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing the case of Ryan Connelly. So before we get into it, I just want to make the disclaimer that I only know what I know and that this case has been unsolved for quite a while, and that I did an interview with his mother, as you'll see throughout this. We talked for about an hour and a half. I really learned a lot about Ryan as a person and about what happened because it gets very miscued. I think that's the right word, in the media, and I think that that's really sad and should be illegal because the way that they talk about Ryan is incorrect, or it's not the person he was, and it's unfair for him to be judged in the way that he is.
But then, when you read the comments that they say about my son, one less gang member, one less piece of shit. My son wasn't a gang member. But since the media said it was gang related, they labeled my son and failed to say the victim was not a gang member.
Let's go ahead and get into the murder of Ryan Connelly. Ryan Connelly was born on May 7th of 1995. He grew up in Reno, Nevada.
Well, ever since Ryan was little, he's the youngest of all four. And he was sweet and kind and sensitive. The kid was amazing. Never not a smile on his face. He always smiled. He was always happy. Ever since he was 2, he was going into the Navy. He had his life planned when he was 2. Kid knew what he wanted, and he knew what he had to do.
And he was the youngest of 4 siblings. He has 2 sisters and a brother. And he went to high school at Hug High for a little while. He actually got pulled out and sent to another school that I can't remember the name of, but his mom did tell me it in the interview. That was more of a charter type school. And the reason he got pulled out of Hug High is because he was being discriminated against a lot by the employees at the school. So Ryan had ADHD, and on top of that he had some anger issues, and so what his counselor and everything decided is that Ryan could hold up a red card and he would be able to step out of the class if he was feeling overwhelmed or upset or something, and he could just go for a walk and try to cool himself down, which I think is fantastic because I have seen so many kids where they just lose their minds in class, and I feel bad for them because it's they don't want everybody knowing this stuff, but it's him having that outlet was so important because you can just go walk around, breathe it off, don't have to deal with anybody right now. And multiple times when this happened, he'd be walking around campus and the school police would come and arrest him.
So Ryan would call me. I'm walking around, they've called school police. They say I'm disturbance at school. I said, did you make a scene in the classroom? No. Put my red card up and I walked out. Before I could even get there, school police would arrest him. Every time.
In handcuffs and everything.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. He was charged with disturbance at school. They harassed him.
One time?
Oh no.
Multiple times.
Oh yeah, they harassed him bad to the point I had to pull him out. I put him into Washoe Aspire Academy.
Literally in handcuffs and taking him to their little office or whatever because he was walking around school. Now, to me, that is 100% a race thing, and that is absolutely not okay. Ryan was half black, and so he had these judgments coming at him just for his race, and you'll see that a lot. You'll see that a lot throughout this case, that him being black causes a lot of the things to happen that did, or things to be taken care of in the way that they were. So Ryan played football for Hug, and he was actually a really good player, one of their star athletes. And he also enjoyed playing video games with his brother or just his friends. And that was actually what he was doing the night that he was murdered. Ryan also had just had a daughter, I think her name's Rylea, and she was 3 weeks old when he was murdered, and he had her with his girlfriend Sierra. She was 3 weeks old, and he hadn't even been able to sign the birth certificate yet because there was an issue with him being under 18, and so he never even had the opportunity.
His daughter was just over here yesterday. God, she looks just like him, which is a blessing and a curse, you know what I mean?
It was on July 7th, 2012 that Dina Connelly, Ryan's mother, would say her last words to him. He was leaving the house because he was kind of bored, and he was just like, okay mom, I'm gonna go down to the little mart down the street and just grab a cigar. And so he was supposed to do that and go over to a friend's house, and then had a very close relationship with his mother. Like, they discussed everything, and it wasn't like weird, like they were really close friends, and obviously she was a parent, like, you know, it was just a very tight-knit relationship, which I totally get because I have that with my mother. Like, I talk to her about everything under the sun. So Ryan was supposed to be calling his mom every hour to like check in, like that was the norm. And so he calls at 9:30 and everything's fine and blah blah blah, you know, he says he's all good. And then at 10:23 she received a call from him, and
but she didn't understand what he was saying. He called me, but I couldn't hear him, and then he hung up. And I kept on trying to call back and back. And then a neighbor came and said, you need to come quick. They always call me Red or Big Red. They don't call me Dina. But they're like, Red, come quick, Ryan's hurt. So I thought Ryan got in a fight, because Ryan looked like a grown man. So I arrived at this apartment, and I walk in, my son's on the floor in the kitchen. And all I see is his big ass feet first. And I'm thinking, and I go in there and I'm upset that nobody's with him. Why is he alone? And he was just laying there and his eyes were closed. And then I touched him and this big bubble came out of his mouth, so I knew he drowned. I was just like, what the hell? And I'm trying to move all that so I could give him CPR.
So Ryan had gone to the little like gas station mart. I'll have a map up and everything right now of his whereabouts throughout the day. So Ryan had walked down here, and he's shown on footage, but the time isn't released of when he was there. I'm guessing around 10 at night. And he, bought the cigars and then was walking away, and a witness said that they heard an altercation between him and someone else, like they were yelling at each other, but you couldn't really understand what was being said. And then Ryan said he didn't need this right now, and he turned around and walked away, and the guy shot him. This was obviously a crime scene. You know, someone had been not only just shot, but murdered. He died.
The sergeant that just retired told me that Reno PD botched my son's investigation so bad. They didn't even do ballistics until a week and a half after.
Oh, wow.
They're out there with metal detectors. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? We've already mowed the lawns. It's summertime. The kids have been out playing. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's too late.
There wasn't a crime scene set up long enough.
And Ryan walked up trying to get towards his home, I'm guessing, and he knocked on one of the people he knew's door, and they let him into his apartment, and he died there in their kitchen. So this case is incredibly heartbreaking because not only was he a kid, that's something people need to remember, he was a kid. Yeah, he was a big kid. He was 6'2" and like 200, like 30 pounds or something. Like, he was a big kid, but he was a kid. He had just turned 17, and you know, he had a little girl, and he's never going to be able to see her grow up. I mean, she's 6 years old now. Like, that's just absolutely insane. And you know, he missed out on life, and it wasn't, you know, how people say God took them or whatever. No, this was, his life was robbed by somebody else, by, you know, someone who was overcome with this evil that can't be described as anything else but, you know, kind of like the devil. And to be able to kill somebody and end their life, that's just absolutely terrible. Now, what's even more heartbreaking about this case is that his mother is pretty sure she knows who did it. And Reno PD is just not doing anything about it. They say that there's not enough evidence, and there may not be. I don't know what kind of evidence they have against him by any means, and I'm not going to be releasing his name because that is not going to help Ryan's case in the least. But Ryan's mother had been trying to contact the detectives and the sergeants and everything, and they just weren't getting back to her, like, for years. And it's like, even if you don't have anything new on the case or whatever, like, at least call back or answer and just let her know that, because it's such a peace of mind thing. And I don't know if Ryan's mother will ever get the justice that he deserves, but I really hope that she does and that he does, because it's not fair. And Ryan was just such a good kid. He had a huge smile on his face all the time, and it's not fair that his young life was taken for no reason. He just, kept, getting in trouble because of walking around on campus, which is just absolutely stupid. And, just other little things. Like, we all make mistakes. It was never anything serious. It was never anything gang related. But he got that label thrown on him, and it's almost impossible to remove that kind of thing. Because now, whenever anybody sees a picture of him or hears his name, like, if they know that, that's what they're going to think. And it just sucks because it's not true at all. In this case, I really do believe that it's one of those one tip things, and a lot of the cases are. That it's just one tip of someone calling in, and the top number there is for secret witness, and if you have a tip that leads to an arrest or helps further the investigation, it is a $2,500 reward, and the bottom number on my little board thing is for Reno PD, and I'll have his case number below in the description box. If you guys have any information, guys, like, I'm going to play this clip right now from his mother, and it is so true, and we talked about it too when we were interviewing, and it was just...
And nobody's coming forward to help me. He was just a child. If it was your child, you would want the same thing. I'm so tired of people saying, snitch this, snitch that. If it was your child, you would want someone to come forward and help you. He was mine. He was my newborn. He was my baby Buddha. He was my everything. So please help me. That's all I'm asking for, Reno. Stand up. You know something.
So please remember that it doesn't matter, like, be a snitch, because this guy's life, his kid, his girlfriend, his family, his mother, like, a piece of her is missing now, and you can just tell, like, when we're talking, that her heart is broken and it will never be back together, and it is just so terrible that, something like that just got taken away from her. As always, and what I've been harping on for the last couple minutes here, if you have any information in Ryan's case at all, even if it was, I saw a man stumbling around, please call it in, talk about it. It was in the middle of the summer, and he wasn't in a not populated area. People saw him, and yes, there's witnesses, but they don't have enough. There always needs to be more tips, so please call in if you have anything. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch and listen to Ryan's story today. Make sure you guys subscribe and like the video and share this video so that others can learn about Ryan. Don't let him be forgotten in the media. Thank you guys. Bye.